Oh, fantastic. Everybody's here. Perfect. So now we can turn this beautifully crafted model of an iWatch. And this beautifully crafted model, well, not yet really beautiful, but it will be soon beautiful to look at wristband in beautifully nice made renderings, like, for example, this at the beginning phase, intermediate phase, and then at the end. And as you see in each rendering, I have actually a reference. So this will be a big part of this episode, how we can find inspirational images for composition materials and then use these as a guide to teach us how to do the renderings. Because one big problem is when you're new to it, you look at this and now you have the question, well, okay, how do I turn this into a rendering? You can guess and maybe you're good, but I found actually really very easy when you look at reference images. For example, here I paid attention to where are the highlights. And then I recreated the environment for producing these type of reflections on the iWatch. And then only that's pretty easy. And then you can memorize these steps. Very good. So I will also go into some materials, how to use an interface. I will introduce you also how to use HD images for environmental lighting. We will also do point lights too. All the texture images can be shared. The download link is inside the description for this video. Then before we continue, since this is the wristband model, you want to make a copy of this. And then when you made a copy, these two collections, including the elements inside, you want to get rid of so that then when you take a look at the final piece I have here, all this is removed and we have a much lighter and nicer environment actually to work with. Okay, very good. So let's get started. So here we are inside the render blend version. You see everything else we don't need is removed and our iWatch is on the ground. And our first step will be to create a very basic environment. So when we explore the material design, it renders really fast and we can pay more attention to how materials look. And then once that is done, then we can spend time on setting up a nice environment. Inside the render properties, go to sampling. Here, max samples, we can actually set maybe to 50 and 50. This will render fairly fast, so we can increase the samples actually. Here actually we can maybe for this design get this at 200. And then light path, this is actually a new development. Go to here, fast GI approximation, set this to 2 or 3. This actually will, how could I say that? Make the rendering, the GI global illumination, so make the images look nicer, function faster with a little bit of a realism penalty. But while we actually explore everything, this is good for final rendering, we can turn this one off. Okay, very good. Also film, we would like to turn the background to be transparent. So we want to keep this on, very good. So that's all done. Now the iWatch is actually on the ground. We could rotate it. Yes, we could. But that means all these other objects here, everything we need to rotate. And as you know, this is currently an interactive piece. So maybe I don't want to do this. But if I want to take a look at an image like this, well, I don't need to, oh no, not image, look at this phone from this angle. I don't need to rotate the iWatch to be on the ground, I can simply, well, position the camera as needed. So what we will do is Shift S, cursor to world origin, Shift A, and camera. Then, well, camera is kind of cricket there, zip S, and then we scale this down. I would like to have more viewports there, right click, and then here we go into the camera. I press N and T to hide everything else. This is just purely for viewing. Very nice. Then we can actually get the camera closer, and the distortions are foreshortening I don't like. Maybe we make this a 90 lens. We can see an S, we can make this smaller. The framing is pretty good, maybe a little bit more space on top. So maybe 900 or 700. Yeah, well, maybe like this. And now I obviously would like to see this more from the side, so I could rotate the camera to there and then rotate it, bring it back. I could. But let's say very quickly I want to go same distance, also look at this watch from kind of on a circular path. So let's undo these steps. Shift A, and then we will add an empty, maybe the arrow empty. We can scale this one down. Let's see, yeah, maybe 40, very good. And this is just only a reference object that doesn't render. Then we can click the camera, shift click the empty object and parent. And then we just leave the camera alone and only rotate that empty. Look at that, pretty cool, no? You see also where actually the camera looks at. So when we go to, I have this set to local, go to global, I move this one down, and you see how I can move everything into the center. Beautiful. And then maybe 800, make this a little bit wider. Camera has to go further away. And there. Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. The the ladder's actually a little bit in our view, so let's turn this one off by switching to this display. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. And then we can just play around. How much of the inside would I like to see? How much of the display would I like to see? There. And we can see very quickly the front view and kind of like a side view, quarter view. This is actually a really handy setup. Very good. Okay. Then we have basically the camera set up. We have our object positioned, and now we would like to add a simple light. So Shift A and light, point light. We can bring this to here. I don't know really how strong yet, so maybe 5. Okay. And I scroll here a little bit and turn on the rendering. Very good. Let's go to the world. This world light is on. Turn this off to 0. This is really black, so maybe a little bit of value. And then this color we can set to white. And then see at what point is actually the black being brightened up. Now this is obviously too strong. Still too strong. We're getting closer. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah, so this is not pure black. This is kind of like a dark gray. So maybe for right now, this is good. The sphere is actually really good. This ring, what you see is actually, it symbolizes the sphere shape actually from which the light is emitted. So we should actually probably move this more to here. Yeah, so this would be more realistic actually. We can adjust the size of the sphere actually here. So a smaller light body will, as you can see, also create sharper shadows. And this would be an LED now. This would be kind of like a nice big light globe dome something. Okay, very good. So you see this renders actually fairly fast. You see the numbers done. I can't even finish the sentence. And this is all running on an M1 Mac Mini, so not a very strong, powerful computer. So what else now can we do before we get started? Yeah, so this is actually another tip. Color mapping. You know, like when you take a photo with an Android phone or an iPhone, you take the photo and then you apply filter. The filter very often add color adjustments, but also contrast and brightness adjustments. Well, let's do the same here. You can see with high contrast actually how different this looks already. There is really bright, and with medium contrast, bang, there. Medium, high, that's what I had. High, yeah. No, you see that. Okay, good. Because we do make a rendering on a white transparent background, it's sometimes difficult to see what's there. So a little trick would be we make a huge plane, put it in the back, maybe make it parallel like this. And now actually you can see if you pay attention to this area, I'm gonna hide it. The color doesn't change, but because of the color contrast, we perceive actually this different. So this is a very helpful tip actually to have this type of a whiteboard or a blackboard behind to help your eyes actually look at. We can give this maybe a color, white there, and we can call this whiteboard. And also this object, I would like to move into the scene, and I call this white board. Okay, very good. These are typical photography tricks I'm using here. We can actually also turn this on, and make the emission white. Then actually, this is not only just in a white surface, this is actually now in a light emitting surface. So that's the downside with it. But if we want to make this really work like a real whiteboard that also maybe emits a little bit of light, that's one trick we could do. But you see, when I move this actually far enough, I can make this like really wide by increasing the strength. But by moving this further away, it really blows out the outside. But the light is falling off and doesn't really touch the iWatch. Okay, very good. So which method you would like to use is really up to you. I will actually turn this back to just being a flat object and just simply move this closer because I only want to help my eyes a little bit when I see these things. Good. Okay, so then we can actually move this around, and our first object to work on would actually be the easiest one. That's actually the iWatch itself. So we can click maybe, let's see, on this element, and then we go new. And then the question is, so what type of material would we like to give it? Let's go to our render targets one more time. So there you see this is actually nice and glossy. This is actually more matte and dark, right? That finish. Here you can really clearly see how rough the surface is. And this is more clean or polished again. And also interesting, the glass, the reflection, and then the interface. Okay, so let's say we make this aluminium, then this should be just metallic. Now because it's metal, can make this actually very polished. There we are. Let's select the crown, add the material. I will select the whole iWatch body. And here are these inserts. The same. And somewhere is that button. There. So with this being super polished, now you see what it reflects. Just the light. And the rest is black because the environment is black. Here, when we actually turn the film transparency off, there you see, that's what it reflects. Okay. I keep the film off for the moment because I notice, hey, with this I have a dark background and a bright background. It actually is quite useful. Okay, so when we go back to this material and add a little bit of roughness to it, you start noticing how instantly the reflection actually changes. Now it gets softer. I start seeing more of the environment. Or I think so. Now it's just more the reflections are more stretched. Okay, very good. So how do we then do actually, how do we do the top part? It's actually pretty easy. So we go into edit mode, and then with the Alt key, I will select this and Shift Alt, Shift Alt, Shift Alt, Shift Alt. And I think that's roughly where it stops there. I always click on an edge. And then this, we will create a new material. I can call this glass. This is black, not pitch black, but just dark. Specular, yeah, rough. Okay, very good. And then Z and render. Yeah, there we are. You see, pretty cool. Very nice. Now, how do we do the interface? Pretty much the same deal. So Alt click on this ring, Shift click the inside. Then here, new material, new, and then we call this interface and assign base color, image, open, and then we will go to the texture folder. Again, this is all shared. The links the link is inside the video description. Open image, and there we are. Don't really see much. Well, because we didn't really tell the software how to put this image over that geometry. So in any viewport, go to the UV editor. Here I have my interface, and then I can go to the top view, UV unwrap. There we are. It's magic. Here we can position this. Very good. There. And look at that, actually. This rendering does not look actually that shabby from this view. And the light is actually quite nice, by the way. Noticed actually how round this stuff is there. So my guess is they're using some sort of a light that's not flat but more round and actually has a strong center, and then to the edge it gets weaker. But from this view, actually, this is really pretty nice. So I like this actually. Oh, really? Just with one light. It's actually pretty good. So let's not get off track. We need to do one more thing. I will select the lamp and the camera and this empty, press M and select scene collection. So I move this all to here out there because I would like to turn off this lamp and go back to the iWatch interface And then I will scroll down. And here, emission, we can give this an emission. But now this is actually white. But look, we can do the same trick here too. Instead of color, we use an image. We use the same interface. And now this emits actually light. That is how you do LED display, TV or whatever. Easy, nothing else. We can also turn this off to 0 and then you just see only the texture. So that's actually really useful, this combination of during a dark area or environment, you can turn this into a light. Or when we have a light, we can also just show it this way. Here, what happens if we turn this back to 1? Yeah, it makes it a little bit more brilliant, but okay, very good. So, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, the reflection values weren't the same. So I need to make sure that since the glass goes really over the whole thing, you see like how I'm cheating. The display is actually under glass and we can see through it, but we cheat this by having two different materials next to each other. But then the reflectivity and the roughness needs to really be the same. No? Wait, interface roughness. So, and specularity there, 1. Okay, good. Zip. Very good. There. And then there you see then no difference. Okay, perfect. So with this actually I would say we're nearly good. I saw that some here have a little bit of a red ring in there. So if we want to do something like this, here we're going to edit mode and select hopefully the correct ring and then there, new base color, nice red. Actually, let's say this is, I don't know, it only can be paint. It can't be a different aluminum. There, okay, so this is kind of good. Maybe we make this a tick brighter. It's a little bit silly how you don't see the materials, but when you go to this view, then actually you see the materials there. So maybe actually for working with materials, well, this looks kind of cool actually. This is a better environment. So maybe here, and then this seems to be actually just this. Yeah, now it cuts into there, so no, can't do that there. Okay, cool. We could also extrude this in, give more details if you would like to. I don't, because you know how to do this. Very good. Okay. Hold on. Oh, interesting. What's going on here now? So that's interesting. You see this piece, and that is happening because we have a mirror here. I could apply this mirror, so it's like one geometry, and then I make sure that this side doesn't have this material. In my case, I will actually. Oh, here I quickly show you how this goes, so you understand it. Shift H, so it's isolated. Z material preview, very good. So apply. Okay, so because it's applied, now you see I can do this on each side. So material, assign there. And since I'm here now already, okay, come on, let's do this. E and extrude this in there. Now we have a little groove. In renderings, actually, this will look quite nice. Like a piece that was grooved in, grinded in, whatever the correct term is in English. Alt H. There. Now we wouldn't really have this anymore. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, I would say actually that this doesn't look too bad as our first setup for the material. Now we can go back into the camera. So I press 0 on the numpad, or you go to view, or actually here, you just click on this camera. That's actually what I really like so much about the new interface here. Zack, zack. It's so awesome to navigate. I use all the key shortcuts. Good. So when I zoom in a little bit, the slide right now is a little bit blinding me. So I'm moving this kind of like to there. Very good. Okay, very nice. Then now we can take a look at how are we going to do actually the wristband. The wristband is going to be quite interesting because we can very quickly simulate various type of materials by just using different settings for the material here. And then, yeah, via color or texture choices, simulate this is leather, this is silicone, this is fabric, etc. The easiest version of the wristband maybe is one that's made out of silicone or plastic-like material, like we have here. This is just a very simple material. You can clearly see there's a very gentle reflection on it, kind of blurry. That's a characteristic of it. Okay, so to better actually sample the color, we can go to the image editor or stay in the UV editor if we want. And then we go to open, navigate to where we have this reference. There it is. There, thank you. And then I position it, and this actually helps now to, well, I can sample actually colors and I can compare. So I have here the material. I will call this silicone wristband. Base color, click on the eyedropper, and then I can sample the color. Here, you actually use the same material. Very nice. Cool. Okay. And then I have reflectivity, roughness, and we can see this is way, way too reflective. So 0.1. Yeah, oh, it's getting somewhere. Roughness, 0.2. See, this is actually 0.6. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, 0.05. I'm just lowering this reflectivity a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, and you see actually this starts to get kind of like this type of a look, but no, this area here is actually really, really dark, and we have kind of like also lights here. As I pointed out, these we can actually rebuild, and we realized with the point light, we actually get exactly this type of a shape. So maybe at this point, very quickly, I will move this light actually further down. So I only get this little rim here. Okay, cool. Then I go into a top view. Maybe I move this a little bit up. And then Shift D, move this one to there. So this is kind of like in this view right on top. I go to this view, move this up a little bit. There you see now there's a reflection. And then I move the slide over and zack, look at that. There we are. Isn't that cool? And then side view, we can move this a little bit further away or further up. It's up to us. Welcome to physics and how reflection works. Incoming angle, exit angle, I think is that term. Shift D and Y. We'll move this one down till we have the stone here, and this here, it seems actually more lower. There, okay, good. The light's also really strong. So 2 watts, maybe, yeah, better. Not so bright. 2. What about the other one here? 1, it's gentle, okay. Okay, yeah, and then this is clearly underexposed. There's no light, so U, Shift D and X, bring this over. There, and then we can move this one up. See, we have this piece here. This is actually interesting now. I move this a little bit further away in here, and I will try to increase the size a little bit. This is really like a quick setup. There's more work that will go into it, but I hope actually you start seeing how, how could I say it, systematic, how logical really lighting is. And probably that's also the way how they set everything up. Let me go one time back again. You see, this is really stylized. Reflection, 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 and then here too. In the photo studio, you also have, well, pure realism. So we would have to rebuild it in CG. And since this is also just a beginner tutorial, we go with rather easier steps. But this is basically the same method. I would like to add, not the interface, but the glass. You have to be careful what you select, what type of material, because I nearly made that mistake. And there I increased the roughness. Now this is, you saw actually how this really helped fighting that blackness on the metal. There. Yeah, look at that. See, huh? It's actually getting somewhere. It's not too bad. I'm going to render properties, color management. One more time. There's also exposure and gamma. When we play with these values, we can increase, think about it like contrast and brightness, maybe exposure. If you want to brighten things up, you can do this obviously with a light, make the light stronger, or you can also do this via here. You just brighten up the whole image. Okay, very good. So when we zoom in, now this is actually our brushed aluminum or sandblasted. Here we can see there's a structure. So, okay, let's give this a structure. Again, we want to make sure this is the correct material. It is. So then Shift A, we know this already, that we need these modules here. Shift A, mapping. No, actually, we don't need. I wrong to you, but I corrected my mistake. Noise, there we are. Object to scale, that is what we needed. I put this one in so I can see the size right now and say 400. And maybe turn this metallic off. Hey, why don't I see this? Oh, it is there. 800. Why don't I see that pattern? Hold on 1 second. Something is. Oh. Yeah, that was hilarious. There. Yeah, well, actually has to go. Yeah, yeah, it's getting close. So maybe 10,000. Yeah, okay. That feels scale-wise correct. I'm looking for the dot to dot size. So then this we can turn into the bump mapping. Zip and zip. There we are. Then we can turn roughness back on. Sorry, metallic reflection. Now this is obviously way, way too rough. But there you see actually this this gives it a good realism. So it's blurry and there's a structure in the rendering. Yeah. So only one, could I say that? Oh, let me correct actually these mistakes here. Roughness one, yeah. So one piece of advice or warning. This is actually really nice. That looks good. And we have the denoiser turned on. When we zoom out, this effect is so small, the denoiser will just wash it out. So that's just something to keep in mind. But it's also, this is a really small image, but if we render this image with more pixels bigger, then we will see the details, just so you're aware of it. Okay, very good. So there's actually our first quick rendering, how to do this wristband with this type of a basic material. The only thing I would like to change is maybe I really don't appreciate these super hard edges. So let's think about where can we add a bevel modifier. We have to solidify the sub D. Yeah, maybe after the sub D, we just, come on, we drag it in. There, nice. So radius of 10 segments. This seems to be awfully big. Yeah, that's what I thought. So maybe 0.5 millimeters. That seems to be more. Ooh. Or seems not. 0.1. Okay, I'm going to this view so I can see actually the wire mesh. Yeah, now I can see. 20% of a millimeter is in this object scale already pretty big. So this seems to be more than sufficient. There's, however, a little bit of an interesting artifact happening. Maybe 2, 1. I have an idea what is going on. Maybe we do it this way. No, that doesn't work. Okay, good. So what is going on? How do I best explain this? There, and we do it this way. So this actually fixes it. So what's happening? Yeah, turn this off or show this, and I turn this off. And let me go to a side view, and there you can see these lines. These lines are generated by the sub-D modifier, and the bevel modifier cannot be bigger than from here to here, because otherwise it would go over this edge. So that's actually why a higher value didn't really work, but this actually should be good. If I increase the viewport, the sub-D model, the viewport subdivision level, then I make more lines on these edges and giving this bevel commander mistake again. Oh my god, this is complicated, sorry. I mean, it's not complicated, actually. Everybody who works with Blender knows this. It's just unfortunately, it's a limit of this technology. So here, there, now we have it. There's actually a good case to show you where then modeling in Fusion is more precise, because we don't have to take into consideration these issues. We just fillet edges where we want. But this actually, yeah, as you can see, this gives a nice, soft, rounded edge. This is actually pretty nice. This is good. Okay. Beautiful. Now actually this really close starts to look more like cast iron work, but we're also really close. Okay, very good. Let's call this one actually done. After this model, let's take a look at how we can create this material. This is quite interesting because it has an outside and an inside material, which looks kind of complicated, is however quite simple. So the way to approach is, I have already here this image loaded in, is I could save this as a separate file because I have to modify the wristband, or I go ahead and select this wristband. So I give this, for example, a name, silicone, the same for this one here. There we are. And then I will make a copy of this. So Shift D and escape. And then this I will hide. I want to see this right now. There we are. Cool. So why did I actually make a copy? I need to apply my Solidify modifier. The reason why I need to apply the Solidify modifier is when I go now into edit mode. Look at this. I have actually a solid geometry, and now I can give everything the proper material. So here I will remove the material. Oh, I'm in edit mode, so in object mode. I remove the material and then go back, new material, and I call this maybe, I don't know, this looks kind of like plastic leather. Blue. Very good. There we are. Sample the color. Now we can do this actually from here. There we are. Thank you. And Z and material preview. Very nice. So that works good. And how do we do now the inside? Easy. We just click one face, press L, and then it selects everything. Okay, so C for the brush effect, and then there. I can't really select the stuff inside there. I could hide all the rest, but we might not really see this. So this is a detail that doesn't really, as you can see, it doesn't really matter. So we can save ourselves that step. New material, assign, and then we call this plastic leather brown. There we are. Yeah, pretty cool, no? There. Then how do we do this actually with the other piece? Pretty much same process. So I need to find there the other wristband, Shift D and escape. Also here I have the render flags turned off. That is actually really important. So then, yeah, same deal. Pretty much it's repetition. There we can assign this one. Go into edit mode. And with C zip, select all this plus this sign. Good. Okay. 0. Very nice. Let's do a rendering. Okay. Yeah. Now here I selected this so that actually the, how could I say that? these dots or these capsules which come through are actually of the blue material. I would have to give each capsule also the same material. So the blue and the sand color one. So where are those? Those are actually here. There you see them. Whoops, don't delete. So these are the ones which actually go into there. But this actually would make things a tick more complicated. So I will keep it actually rather where we are and just keep it like this. No, actually, hold on. Let me show you this, since I should do this. So okay, so I want to do actually one quick test. So this is red and Boolean. Zack. Very good. Thank you. And go to here, and then we do plus and say Boolean. Yeah, okay, good. So you see actually what's happening, no? Why is red not there, and why is there not the other color? So Blender works by this object is fused to this object, but as long as this doesn't have any material that this object has too, only the geometry is added, and then it's texturized by the main material. That's the blue one. But if we give this actually a different color, and then to this host object we add this, then actually wherever we have a Boolean command, it adds this color. Google engine cut section, where they cut it up, and wherever there's the cut surface, they paint magenta. That's actually how we could do this trick. We could now actually go ahead and say, well, instead of cut, please instead of join, please cut. Look at that. How cool is this? Actually, that looks kind of cool. Let's do this. There. And then zack and plus and this Boolean red. Oh, that's because this one does not have that material yet. Yeah, and there we are. See it now? Actually, now it's actually my model looks nicer now. So quite, I hope that this actually basically explained it. Now, if we, however, would like to show, for example, on this now, the sand material, then this Boolean object needs to have this brown object added. There, you see? And in case I want to see the blue one, then it needs to be the blue material. Cool. Okay. Really nice. So what else can we do to improve actually this design? So because we actually applied the Solidify Modifier, we can now try to see. So if I bring this one up, angel. Okay, let's see. I go 7, rotate around. If I remove this one and yeah, so that's a sub D modifier, and we are sharpening that later. But this will create the issues. Yeah, it does. Okay, sorry. I was just testing something. So let's bring this back on top and let's take a look at it. You see all these lines here. These are actually the crease lines. So press A for everything. and then N, and crease 0, and N. You see now how this is very soft, kind of ugly. So now we can go to Edge Select, Alt click, Shift Alt click, click on all these edges here. Same there, very carefully. Just not these verticals. Okay, and then N, and we will give this a bevel weight. So you see it's a different color. And then here we say apply the bevel to the wherever there's a weight. Yeah, okay, so there we are. Very nice. And that rounds it. And you see then this way now, I can actually increase this. You see how this gets bigger? And then this I can round. Okay, very nice. Good. So let me try this here one more time. So edit mode A, and then N, and this we turn off. Hold Control Alt key and left click, Shift left click. There and there, and the end. And with this we will crease then. Well, not crease. We just round bevel this. Crease is like sharp, and this is round. And then this goes up here. Point is 5, I think I had, and weight, no, 0.4. Very good. Now we can exit this back into the camera. And now this doesn't look so stupidly sharp. Very good. Nice. So if we do a rendering now, we get even nicer, softer roundings here. So it's actually quite comfortable looking. Okay, very good. So now to bring this actually to a true end, how do we now make this look like this? So this is actually one rendering we can do. And I will actually keep the lower one open and then just only do this with the top one. So I will go to the top view, then it's actually easier to rotate. When you insert the camera and then you go into a 3D view, it's like, whoa, roller coaster. Just go press 7, top view, and then you realign your view. So when we go here into edit mode, all we need to do is we need to select all the lower faces here. And then all this we will give also, and that's the trick, this material. Yeah, that's it. So now when we go to here and say, go back to union, there we are. Ta-da. Pretty cool, no? I think so too. Yeah, okay. Then let's do this here, since that wasn't really that complicated. Okay, and here's the material. And assign off. Camera view, and then you change the Boolean. Oh, well, if you do it right, I guess. I didn't do it right. these two faces were not textured. Beautiful. So now we take a look at here. We can see there's quite some structure actually on it. So we could do this via a leather texture, but this actually will be a little bit tricky, labor intensive to do because this is not just one object. These are these elements are joined onto it. So we will actually texture this via a procedural texture. We most of the time actually used the noise texture, and we can also use maybe the I can't pronounce this texture, the musk, the M texture. So same deal as always. This is just basically what we need. We do a quick overlay for the color so we can see how this actually looks. Very good. 500, there we are. Oh, not too bad. 600. So again, like, why do we need this texture thing here? See kind of like the issue that's happening here. You see the direction. The software doesn't understand how to make this texture flow over that surface. With this object, we tell it like what coordinate system it should take. Beautiful. And we have various options here to use. This is actually quite nice. Maybe 5,000. Yeah. What about FBM? I think that's what we had. Metro terrain. There are just various methods here you could use. And this one actually I will use their rigid multifractal, which looks kind of massive amount of bandworms in your stomach. So this should only be used for the bump. So Shift A and bump and connect and connect. The strength is probably way too strong. 0.1 maybe. 0.001. 0.00001. Yeah, there's something is coming back. Yeah, and now it's basically then rendering and comparing. At one point, do actually these levels look pretty close? I have some, again, because of my, how could I say that? Denoising some artifacts coming in. I will lower actually here the strength. You see how the strength actually flattens this a little bit. So the strength, the distance, this is actually interesting. I don't know if you paid attention to it. So I changed the distance here and you can see that it looks like, yeah, here particularly, small elements are sticking out. The rest is pretty flat. So when we just only use the strength to lower it, it seems like everything more evenly is being compressed instead of clipped. Yeah, this actually looks pretty good. Yeah. Well, it's just a different fractal maybe to play with. With fractals, always when you go in, they look wrong, but we show these things from a distance. So these three things I would like to continue using also on the blue. Control C, go to the blue material, Control V, and just plug it in. Done. For those who would like to know, there are even ways to actually create groups. So these these three elements, control, was it add, yeah, make a group there. Tuck. So this is a group. Tab, the group is out. Tab is like edit mode. So, and then this node group, for example, I could call bump. There, you see this. So when I go and click my other material, this I delete, Shift A, then I go to group, node group. Should give this, okay, maybe a different name here, there. And then, zack, bring this to there. So the cool thing is, this is a shared group. So when I adjust this value here, 0.4, okay, it also applies to the other one. Because again, this is a shared element between these two materials. This is why you can so beautifully weave actually complex materials, if you're interested in. Okay, very good. I would say last refinement, maybe here, this top light, now I feel when I compare this, is way too strong. Yeah, no, this is better. Okay, and maybe the bottom one. Very good. And then here, 0.05. See, I'm losing actually light in here. Then I get light back. Shoot, so what do we do? Well, 0.5. Okay, let's see. Can we not maybe we do this? Shift D, and then we bring the slide closer. We change the size to 1. Bring this to there. Can see if this actually is something that could help. Most of the light comes kind of like from the top. We have to be careful that it doesn't create any illumination there, and then lower the strength there. Yeah, okay. So you see, by hiding this light, actually we're not hiding it. Bad me. So G, and no, we have sunset. Yeah. By putting it right under the iPhone body, we don't see it, but actually then there we can see it. The only downside now is, look at that here. Oh, shoot. So there they would see actually that we're tricking a little bit. What about we bring this further away? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, still better. Better than nothing. Okay. You see actually this, we're slowly also running into the limits of how to illuminate these themes just with simple spheres. So in the next rendering, actually, we will also then look into how to turn the wristband into leather, and then how we can illuminate everything just with an environmental light. So I talked about HDRI probes. In Google, type in free HDRI. And then Polyhaven, for example, is a really good one. Here also has a lot of textures and models. Click to here, and this is what an HDRI is. So it's called High Dynamic Range Image, and it includes a 360-degree capture of the environment. So normally we would just place lights and then render. And here, well, we have the environment that shoots out the light into our scene. There are many, many websites online where you can find actually these images. What, however, is very important, whatever you download, it cannot be a JPEG or a PNG. These are 8-bit, so low dynamic range images. They have to be EXR or HDRI. So they have to be in that correct format, which I will show you in a moment too. And yeah, I mean, all these environments actually are pretty cool. Here, I will download this one. These images can be quite big. So you see this one is 20 megabyte, not necessarily super small. Okay, there we are. Beautiful. So let's go to Blender. Now I will make a new collection, and into this collection I will put in all my point lights. And then I will turn this off. So it's gone. And you too. Thank you. Okay, so how do we now do this environment? So here's the world. If we set the world to 1, it's a pretty terrible rendering, super flat, bland. In the shader editor, go to world. There we have world. And actually here, when we click on environment, or environmental texture, sorry, open, I will go to downloads. Here is this one file. Now we see something happened. So I will want to double check something. Did we have film? Yeah, it's not turned off. Very good. So if I rotate around, look at that. You see there's actually this environment. I will turn also off here my whiteboard, so it's gone. There it is. So this environment, as you can see, is, well, literally emitting light onto my object. That's pretty cool. And I would like to rotate this, however. So Shift A, input texture coordinate, Shift A, mapping, and then generate it to vector and there. So here's now a little trick or workaround. You see the watch is actually facing up and our environment is correct. I need to rotate this environment. And with this, I can actually do an rotation -90. Yeah, very good. So, perfect. Wait, actually, so this is top now. -90. The other way, maybe. Yeah, this is correct now. So the camera looks up and yes, perfect. And then with Z, we can actually rotate this around. So you see, we simply switch the axis for that part. What's really nice about these HDRI images is they literally emit light from 360 degrees, which is really beautiful. The downside is you're kind of stuck with the lighting you have inside that image. So either it works or it does not. This, for example, actually look really good. Is however way too harsh. So let me go back to the textures folder. I have actually more HUIs here. This is kind of fun. This is actually cool if you want to put this over a car model or something with the zebra lines. It doesn't really work well. What about this here? Yeah, okay, but I can rotate around. Yeah, you see there I have now some funny reflections on it. They look rather very distracting, not very good. So as cool as this looks, it's kind of pointless. We can also put this into nearly a really nice bright environment and turning this rendering totally looking into a rendering. So this is totally garbage, but actually we can assist this rendering with point lights or other lights. So we can mix this, by the way. It's not one or the other. Then we have, what do we have here too? I found this quite interesting. No, it's the same. It's less soft. It's actually stronger, but also here we run into the same problem of it's a nice bright environment, but it's too evenly illuminated. It kind of like feels something is fake. And then actually I came also across this and this one. It's actually really old. There you can see the ending HDR, EXR. My voice starting to break up. Huh? 1126. So what I found really interesting about this was the fact that we have a dark area, a light box, light box, light box, dark area. And then there are these rounded corners. And then I was just rotating this around. And at one point I thought like, there's the black area coming. There. Okay. Oh, interesting. Now, what do we have here? So this is probably a similar environment that they used to illuminate or make maybe a rendering. Or the light box the watch is in is similar. This Octane, this is actually a really old file, 2014, is actually also not too bad. There you can see how we have these reflections there. But yeah, I mean, you can see the rendering actually, the lighting is quite nice, but it sometimes lacks a little bit of contrast. Which is why then adding an additional light to it really can help. This is totally tinted. We had this one, or do we use this one? What about strength of 2? I can make it nice and strong. Yeah, there. Gets actually better. So, our display is nice and black. Here, not anymore. So, do we have to do some trickery? Yeah, okay, so let's make this pitch black. Because also in the image, it's pitch black. In this interface, so now you see this is actually the same. Yeah, I look at that. Actually, the lighting is, I would say, is pretty cool. This is a tick too bright here, so little tip here. Now you know we had this whiteboard. We can do the same with blackboards. Not to be confused with the terrible teaching tool Blackboard. There we are. And let's see, so we move this around, maybe to the side. Or here. Further down. And there you can see how we have something there. Don't make it too big, because when you make it really large, well, essentially it's a huge, well, it blocks the light. I will press N and change the rotation. S and Y, S and X, there, S and Y. Zip. Just trying to magically see if I can make it pop up without impacting too much the rendering, the lighting. Does it do something? Not really. Okay, so sometimes this happens. I just delete it. Anyway, okay. back to track. How do we turn this now into a leather piece? So let's make another material. Oh, that's actually good that what did we do? Oh, we made actually copies of these wristbands. Yeah, perfect. So, since we made copies of this and we baked it, let's continue with those two. So I will actually, as you see, I turned all this here off, and then I will select U and U, Shift D and escape. And now we have all these crazy silicon names here. Maybe this now would be better name to be plastic and plastic, and then this we call, wait, I meant leather, sorry. And then here, yeah, this is, for example, plastic and plastic. Okay, very good. There. Zack, zack, zack. There's leather. Turn on the visibility and rendering. Okay, so then clong, 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 clong. Remove all the materials. Clong, clong, clong. Very nice. And let's go to the texture folder. So I also have here few leather materials. Actually also kind of like a plastic or a fabric. But here's a leather bump. Then this is actually for the roughness. If we want to make something like dotted, and another roughness part. So these images we will load and then texture over it. Okay, I will press Shift H, very good. 7, then I will actually here turn this off and tab so I can go into edit mode. Then let's give this a material and we call this leather. Very nice. And image. We would like to use, where do we have the leather bump? There, yeah, the one we need. Very nice, thank you. This one we will switch to the shader editor. Very good. And then UV editor and bump where we are, bump. There, okay. Very good. Do we see anything? Oh, that's interesting. Where do we see this? Where do we see this on these dots actually? That's unexpected. So let's turn this off for the moment. Because that was actually quite funny how this happened. 1 second. Now this caught my attention. Okay, so this is correct. So then you go to there. Ah, yeah, ugh, that makes total sense. The texture doesn't show up, well, because we didn't unwrap everything. So edit mode A and U and unwrap, you see garbage. So this unwrap we have to do more carefully. So AA, I will press Control Spacebar. And then actually we go into really big view, Control Spacebar, go back. Then Control click this, Shift Control click this, here and here. And same here and here. And so this is actually top and the bottom. And then we go edge and say mark seam. So these edges are now seamed. And then maybe, yeah, where do we do the edge? Maybe this is this is this edge. There. So what happens now is when I click this and press L, oh, maybe because I didn't unwrap it yet. So AA, U unwrap. Oh no, I thought actually it would. Okay, never mind. I was under the impression that's the way how it worked in the past. Then when you once you edit seams, you can with L select the island of that seam. Control spacebar. So look at that what we have here. See, there's actually our top part. And then how does this actually continue? Yeah, it does. And you see how it continues. There we are. Beautiful. And then the same here. Alt click this one. This is actually this long band, which however is kind of garbage. You see this here. So here we have to do something like this. So where did we put that seam? It's there. So alt click this. And then here, this is this point or face I selected. This is the first one. And then this will continue tracking. U for unwrap. And then follow active quad in yes. Let's cross fingers. Yes, there it is. Really nice long band. There you can see. Okay, beautiful. AA. And then, well, if this is something that goes around, this has to be double as long. Yeah, maybe like this. Actually, I will make it like this, there, and then AA, U. We make it tick smaller. Okay, very good. So now, because we gave this actually a texture coordinate system, now all this actually should work. Oh, I must have by accident maybe forgotten here this this bevel weight. Yeah. Okay. So let's try rendering. Please work. Yes, there we are. Beautiful. Okay. We will actually, for this rendering, turn this addition off. So we only deal with this because there now you can really see the problem with the size. We would have to unwrap these capsules to the same scale. So we even have material at the side. Now to scale the material, easy peasy. There we are. And vector mapping. Maybe 3 times. Okay. Well, maybe this will look good. Who knows? Okay. So then let me very quickly do the same with the other piece and then introduce you to one additional element there too. So here this I turn off, Shift H, and here now I will create new what's called a UV test image. There. Okay, so I have to do logically the same thing here too. So I will go and Shift Alt click all these edges I need. Oh, look at this. Let me quickly redo this. There, thank you. And then mark seam. And I think here, this seam we had mark seam. Very good. You unwrap, and oh, this time actually I did this. No, I did not. So these are actually are much nicer unwrapped. And so what is this funny texture about? Here, I'll make a UV test. And this texture I want to be kept all the time. So there. And this image I might like to be packed. So it's inside the blend file. And then image texture. Where's the UV? I just typed this in. There we are. Beautiful. And show me it. Okay, so what is this UV thing actually for? This is a tool to see if there are distortions. So the distortions we will use to fix actually the sides. So let's go, and here's this other area, face select. Alt click a face there, then U and follow active quad. Thank you. And there you can see, whoa, something is slightly wrong. So I can bring this one down, scale this one up. And then maybe see G and Y. Can I even line this up? So what we now discover is AA, select everything, AA, deselect everything, select this, and we scale you down, and then I try. Scale this so it starts to line up. There, you see how now slowly these elements start. So this is one way where the UV editor can be used for. It will also show where maybe we have something that is compressed or is stretching. There, you see? So this tells me that there is an issue with the geometry. Okay, very good. So now we have two different pieces, and they might actually unwrap slightly differently. That's also where the UV image will be very useful for. So we will give this one here that 2, and now we can see, are the rectangles the same? And look at that, they're not. So this means the leather material on each of these materials would look actually quite different. So I will select this one, go into the UV editor, A, and then AA, select all this, and I think I have to make this smaller. Yeah, there. Now that looks good. So this basically tells me now that I have unwrapped both objects to the same or similar scale. Now this UV texture I don't need anymore. And I can give this the leather material. Okay, so what I showed you is not unique to just how to make this wristband. This is just the way how UV unwrapping actually works. Doesn't matter what, a character, wristband, or whatever. Okay, very nice. So, this kind of like looks good. Oh, maybe we make this with a red strong leather. Let's hope Ferrari doesn't call us. So there we are. There. Okay, beautiful. Let's do a rendering and see how this will look. 0. Yeah, looks a little bit like quite fake leather. Maybe a tick stronger, that effect. And maybe this material is way too small. There we are. I was obviously joking with the red. No? So let's open that reference image. There we are. And we can pay attention to, so when this is leather, what do we actually see here? And well, I would actually say we're pretty good. Also here they have a really nice dual tone. So they have one material on top, one material on the inside. There's also material here at the side too. So let's say this is leather orange. Okay, so that needs more saturation in my rendering. There, okay, very good. That's the outside. Then let's do the inside. I will okay, so I made a copy of this, but that's not what I wanted. I was just trying to see how that works. Jump. So you actually we will, yeah, you will be orange, and then we will make you sand. Very good. Thank you. There. Don't worry, things are incorrect here, but we will fix this. And then we need one more material. And here actually I will Control C, and then new material, X, delete, Control V, paste it all in. And this will be side. Actually, this will not have any crazy thing. Well, actually, we can maybe keep it Control 0, but we just here this color we make kind of like this. Okay, beautiful. So now we can assign all these materials to our objects. I will go to material preview, Shift H, and tab to go into edit mode. Then I will press A. That's actually the easiest way. And say, oh, there are some materials missing. Maybe that's the other objects I had selected. Okay, so plus plus. Very good. Here, this will be leather orange, and then you will be leather side. Leather orange is in the inside, so assign. And on the whole, everything is crazy orange now. That's okay. I did it this way because now it's very easy to just quickly select the outside faces without having to deal with that inside stuff. So this is actually the outside. So sand, assign, chuck. And then I can alt click the side here and say this side, chuck. Yeah, and there we are. Look at this. Isn't that cool? I think so. Alt H. Here's the other one. Shift H and enter A. Everything is orange. That's good. So alt click this, assign, and then AAC. Oh, be careful. AAC, and then we just paint over it. There, and then sand. Zack. Alt H, 0. And let's take a look how this feels. There are videos that show you how you can do stitchings, and This video is already pretty long I'm doing right now, so I don't want to make another one, but look at actually this. This looks pretty good. I mean, clearly this is still rendering, you can see this, but I hope you saw actually how from the rather dull first rendering, this actually really started to look pretty nice. What's missing is the elements here that would connect it, but let's could model this, or we could simply say, hey, it's magnetic, period. But otherwise, yeah, actually not too bad. Maybe here now we can really see, so there is actually a light source, so this definitely is actually just really a photograph, because you can see how this correlates here really well. The metal is actually maybe a tick too brushed, so 2. 0.05, 0. Oh, that's a bump mapping actually that's working on it. Wah, wah. That actually just confused me here for a second. So roughness 0.1, bump mapping for this 0. Yeah. Yeah, not too bad, no? There, we basically now have another really nice version. Okay. It's nearly midnight. Time for me to finish this. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye bye.